Well guys, summer is well underway and with it, insanely hot temps. In my neck of the woods, it got up to 106 this past week, with heat indices up to 111. So naturally, we need to be finding something refreshing, bubbly, tropical, and fermented as a plus. Tepache is just the drink for us. This is a Mexican drink that's kind of hard to find where I live. So in order to drink it, I gotta make it. Luckily, it's not that hard and doesn't take long at all. It's the perfect recipe for someone who has never fermented or brewed before, as it's so delicious and so easy. It's got 2 to 3% alcohol by volume and tons of probiotics for gut health. It's good by itself, mixed with beer, and a good base for a cocktail. And it's not only good for summer, it's got a good amount of warming spices, which work well for the fall season too. First, we'll need a pineapple. I picked this up at my local Kroger. You'll want to wash the skin with fruit wash, or even non-antibacterial soap and water works just fine, mainly to get any chemicals or pesticides off of there. We're going to be using the skins, so this is important. There's a lot of discussion online about not washing the skin for fear of rinsing off the lactobacillus and the yeast. But trust me, rinsing it works just fine, and it's so much safer. Let's go. I've got a big jar that will also rinse and clean with non-antibacterial soap and water. It's got to hold at least a gallon. Make sure you rinse all the soap out. Here we've got a rinsed pineapple that we're going to take the skins off. The fruit, just cut it up, put it in the fridge, and save it for later. We're using just the skins here, so this is a minimal waste recipe. Here we've got an 8-ounce cone of piloncillo. You can find it in a Mexican grocery store, or you can pick it up on the Amazon link I've shared below. Alternatively, you could just use a cup of brown sugar and it'll turn out just fine. Here we've got a couple of cinnamon sticks that we're going to throw in. You could use a couple of cloves as well if you want a different flavor element, but this is what we're going with today. And finally, we've got bottled or filtered water if you have it. We'll be using 1 gallon of this. Start by slicing the top and the bottom off of the pineapple. Rumor has it you can grow a new pineapple from the top alone, just by planting it in soil and watering it regularly. It would be fun to try. Slice the pineapple skins off, and remember, we're just using the skins. Dice up the fruit however you want. Eat some if you want, but we won't use it for this recipe, so place it in the fridge for later. Grab your jar and throw in the pineapple skins, the piloncillo, the cinnamon sticks, and the water. Give it a stir. The piloncillo won't dissolve right away, but give it time. Cover the top with a clean dish towel and secure with a rubber band. This will allow carbon dioxide gases from fermentation to escape while keeping exterior junk out. Put it aside to ferment at room temperature for 4 to 5 days. Make sure you stir it every single day. If you don't, you risk mold forming on top. The naturally occurring yeast and lactobacillus will start to ferment the sugars found in the piloncillo. This will create probiotics and alcohol. You won't notice much activity for a couple of days, but eventually it'll start bubbling like crazy, so just be patient. Taste it each day, and you'll know it's ready to bottle when it's a healthy mix between tart and sweet. So we'll go ahead and taste this and we'll see what we're working with. Not quite there yet, but we got a few days to go. A little explanation here if you're new to fermentation. When fermentation takes place, yeast and bacteria feed on sugar and create alcohol or acetic acid, depending upon the type of fermentation, and then carbon dioxide as a byproduct. When you sip on a good bottle-conditioned beer or kombucha or tepache or any other drinks, and you notice carbonation, that is buildup of carbon dioxide. Once the bottle is sealed off, the carbon dioxide from continued fermentation has nowhere to go, so it dissolves itself into the liquid, and this creates pressure. which is why upon opening a carbonated beverage, it fizzes as the carbon dioxide begins to come out of solution. Science rules. After 4 to 5 days and the taste is to your liking, it's time to bottle. I recommend you grab some of these pressure-rated swing top bottles to prevent explosions during bottle conditioning. I like to strain the Tepache out into a glass pitcher to filter out any solids. And then pour the Tepache into the glass bottles to bottle condition and carbonate. Pour the Tepache all the way up to the wire bale, which helps achieve carbonation and reduces explosion risk. And this is cool. You can actually reuse all the ingredients in your jar for a second batch. Just throw in another 8-ounce cone of piloncillo or 1 cup of brown sugar and fill back up with a gallon of water. The yeast and lactobacillus are already primed and ready to go. I'm doing this second batch with brown sugar so I can compare it to the piloncillo batch. I put the bottles into my conditioning cabinet next to the kombucha and toss some Christmas lights on as fermentation is speedier when the environment is warmer. Check the bottles daily and crack the lids. You want a good sound. And for the Tepache to start working its way up the bottleneck. Once you've achieved this level of carbonation, it's time to put them in the fridge. Once they're chilled, crack one open, pour into a frosty glass, and enjoy. That's how we make Tepache at Fire and Ferment. If you like this type of content and you want to see more of it, hit that big like button, subscribe to the channel, and click on that little bell icon so you're notified of any new videos. I love you guys, and stick around.